want a straight line down there, right? So this is it, how far we have gone. The next, now we want to draw our armhole curves. Armhole curves, right? Now to get your armhole curve, you need your across back, right? You need your across back. Now this is how to go about it. You simply find the midsection of this depth here. Now this is 9.5, so the midsection is going to be at 4.75. Then you go down from that point by 1 inch, right? And then at that new point there, you want to go in by ½ inch, right? So the deepest point of your armhole is not actually at the middle, it is about 1 inch below that, right? So with this, we want to connect, right? Mind you, this is our center, right? This is the center between front and back. So you want to connect from here to this point we just marked here, and from that point to this point here, right? If you can get the curve at once, you're good to go, right? But if you cannot, you can break down the journey into 2 points, from here to here and then from there to there, right? So we are going to do the same thing for the front, right? In a different way, right? So the same thing in the sense that you want to get this depth here and find the midpoint and go down by 1 inch, right? Now at this point, we are going to go in by 1.5. Remember, for the back we went in by half. For the front we are going in by 1.5, right, inches. So we want to now connect our shoulder to that point and then stopping at this same point here, right? So it's going to give us, make sure you're having a nice curve, right? This curve is very much important, so make sure it is nice and smooth, right? So have it like this. So this gives us the front armhole curve, right? Now the reason why I did not make this line a continuous bold line is because there's actually no underarm seam here. For a suit, if you have seen a suit before, there's actually no underarm seam here. So this is not a permanent line. We want to now create the side seams for this jacket here, right? So to do that, from this center line here, go forward by 2 inches, right? You're going to take that all the way down. So from the center line here, go forward by 2 inches. That is for the front. So we are going to connect this way. Now I want to make it a bold line because this is the main line, right? Like this. Then for the back, it's just simply going to be this point where you took ½ inch in. You want to take that straight line all the way down, right? This point here, you just want to take it all the way down. So you can go ahead and measure what we have here. From the blue line here, we have it as 8.5. So I want to go down the same 8.5 like so that we can connect, right? Whichever way you want, how you want to do it, just make sure this is a straight line all the way down like this, right? Correct. So it is on these lines we are going to take in our dots to give it the shape we want, right? Remember, the whole block here is the chest measurement, but you know that the waist is smaller than the chest, so there are some dots we are going to take around the waist region, right? So let's proceed. We want to check waist divided by 2 here is supposed to give us 19.5. That is 39 divided by 2. It's supposed to give us 19.5, right? So we'll go over to the waist and check from this green line here to that green line there if it gives us 19.5. If it doesn't, then whatsoever is the excess, we are going to remove it as dots, right? So let's go ahead and measure from here to here. It is more than 19.5. Now I think I want to make my waist smaller to give it more fit, right? So let's change this waist to 38. I want the waist to be narrow, right, to give me that fitting, right? So 38. Now if we divide that by 2, we're going to have 19, right? So let me go here and check where is my 19. Okay, so I have 19 here, and I have an excess of 1.5 inches there, right? 1.5 inches is actually 20.5 here total. So 1.5 inches is the excess. Now I'll show you how to share out that 1.5 inches, right? The major part of this excess, which is the dot here, goes on this line here, which is the line between the side piece and the back piece, right? Your back around that region is the deepest point, right? So it goes in more here. So we have an excess of 1.5 inches here. This is how to share it. I'm going to take ½ inch from this line here, while I take the remaining 1 inch here, right? So sharing 1 inch here will give me ½ inch here and ½ inch here, right? Whereas at this point here it's just going to be 0.25 and another 0.25, right? So now we want to connect our dots. Your dot should stop 2 inches before the chest line, which is this line here. So my dot is going to stop here for this one, right? And the same point here for this one. Now the same distance from the waist to the dot up, you take the same distance down, right? So let's check from here to here. Now what is the distance? Is about 5.5. so I'll do the same 5.5 down here. So the same thing here is about 5.5. we're going to do 5.5 down here, right? So let's connect. We have ½ inch here, ½ inch there. The same thing here. Okay, like this. So here is 0.25, 0.25. Same thing here. Now I'm using a marker for visibility, right? I want it to be visible for you. If you're doing this, use your pencil so that your lines will be accurate and neat, right? You don't want some blurring thick line, you want sharp lines, right? So this gives us our basic bodies for the jacket, right? You can see everything here. These are the dots. So if you take out all these dots, this waistline will become your waist measurement. Now mind you, our hip or the seat area down here is slightly bigger than the chest, like 1 inch more, right? So we are going to deal with that when we are tracing these patterns on our fabric. Now there's nothing much we can do about that. When we are tracing, we are going to add a little bit around the waist, the hip region here, to give us this 43 we are looking for, right? So now let's proceed to the front to get out our lapel region, right? So for the lapel, let's go to the front here. You want to first choose what kind of lapel you are making, and like we said earlier from the beginning, we are making a single breasted, right? So you want to go up here from your waistline by 2 inches, right? That's going to be the break point, 2 inches, right? So let's mark that out down like this. So that's going to be the break point. You'll see how we're going to use that. Then don't forget to add your overlap allowance, which is going to be 0.75. The overlap allowance is what you use for your button. So go anywhere on this line, mark your overlap 0.75, mark another 0.75, so that we can connect with a straight line like this. Now this is your overlap allowance. Now this is 0.75 because it's a single button, single breasted, right? If we are making it a double breasted, this overlap allowance will be up to 2.5 or 3 inches, right? So we have this. Now if you decide that you want to use two buttons up and down, the lower one will be 4 or 5 inches below the first one, which is going to be somewhere here, but I think I'm going to be using just one button, so this is good for me, right? Now this is our neck width. All you need to do is to go in here by 1 inch or 0.75. You're free to choose any one you want to, 1 inch or 0.75, and you're going to connect it to this break point on the overlap allowance, right? Remember, this is our break point. At this point here, this is where you want to connect it. The break point on the overlap allowance, you're going to connect this here, and then we'll proceed from there, right? So let's go ahead and connect like this. Sorry. Okay, like this, right? That is where the lapel is going to fold, right? So the next thing we want to do is to square a line on our neck width. Square a line. Now talking about square, you need your right angle triangle, your square here. So you want to square a line at an angle of 90 degrees to your shoulder. So you're going to place this here, making sure the base of this square here aligns with your shoulder. So we have it like this. And where am I squaring this line now? I'm squaring it at your neck width, right? So we are trying to form our collar pattern like this. So at this point, you're squaring this line here like that, right? This line is going to continue for a certain distance. How do you get the distance? Go back to your back neck and you measure this line here, right? This curved line here gives you the length of this line here, right? So go ahead, let's measure this carefully together. We want to have it like this, and from what we have here, it's about 4 points. Let me do it this way so I can see it properly from here, then I'll show us. Okay, from what we have here is about 4.1, right? So this is going to be extended up here by 4.1. This is 4.1 here, right? So at that point again, you square another line, right? So at that point, make sure you put your ruler to meet this line here, your square here, and then you square another line here like this, right? And then you want to extend this line inward straight like this by 1.5 inches, right? So let's do that. This same line here, the collar line we are forming now, just take it in here by 1.5, right? So I'm going to measure, I made more than 1.5, so I'm going to measure 1.5 out of it. This is 1.5 here, and then you go over to this point here and you want to come down by 3 inches, right? So from here, 3 inches, right? So we have it. You can do 2.5, depends on the shape of the lapel you want. Let's go for 2.5 like this, right? And then we connect. Now if you're conversant with suit making, you see that the lapel and the collar is already coming out now, right? So we want a collar width of 3.25. So on this line here, 3.25, right, like this. And then you can go over here now and form your notch. Remember, we are making a notch collar. There's no strict guideline on how you want to make your notch here. The size and the shape and everything depends on you. For me here, I want to go for 1.5 1.5. See where I'm taking it from, 1.5 by 1.5. Like I said, there's no strict rule on the angle